Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to England, and we've got a beer that's a collaboration between two of the country's best known breweries these days. So for this one we're going to go down to Leeds in Yorkshire, which is of course home to Northern Monk. We're looking at one of the beers in their Patrons project, which is their collaborative series with local restaurants, bars and other breweries of course, and this is one that they did with Magic Rock from along the road in Huddersfield. So this beer is called the Victorian Lemonade IPA. It comes in at 6.5% ABV, and it's supposed to be a really nice tart lemony IPA from what I've heard. I wonder if it'll be anything similar to the pink lemonade IPAs and the old lemonade IPAs that Omnipollo and Evil Twin did together. But the artwork on this one is by Drew Millward as well, and I have to say I am pretty impressed with that. I really do quite like that. I'll definitely be keeping the sticker from this can anyway. It's really cool actually. I might even just keep the can, to be honest with you, but it should be a really interesting beer, this one. I've heard that it's a really good one. This was another one of course that was recommended to me by the guys at Market Hall Wines in Durham, who have given me some really nice beers recently, so do make sure you check them out if you're watching from the Durham area. I'll put the link to their Facebook page in the description below. They've got a really good selection of little craft beers these days. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done both from Northern Monk and from Magic Rock before. No doubt there will be some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to my brewery notes on Northern Monk then. So as I've told you before, Northern Monk are based in Leeds, and they were founded back in 2013 by Russell Bissett, and he started brewing in his mum's basement basically, and he launched his company officially at the Sparrow Beer Cafe in Bradford. But in August of 2014 they moved to the old flax store in the city of Leeds at Marshall's Mill, and they've been working to expand their capacity there ever since. But they say that they like to pay homage to the old monastic brewing tradition in England that went on for centuries but is largely overlooked these days. Of course, it's Belgium that is really well known for its kind of Trappist beers and monastic style brewing of course. But at the brewery they also have the Refectory, which is their bar and restaurant, and that's somewhere that Rob at Hopscene always raves about. He's always told me some very good things about that, so I do need to make sure that I go down and visit it at some point. But they currently brew over 20,000 pints of beer per week, which goes all over the world, and they also have their Patrons project where they team up with other breweries for collaborations, and also local bars and restaurants and things like that as well. And this beer of course is one of the ones that's brewed as part of that Patrons project, so you get some really interesting beers out of that. And it tends to be those ones, the Patrons project ones, that I actually managed to find from Northern Monk. I don't see that many of the other beers around actually, but I do need to keep an eye out for those and see if I can get a hold of them. I'm not sure what the last one was that I actually reviewed from them, but I remember it was a New England IPA and it was pretty good. I think it was the one that had the boxer on the front of it with the white label, but it was a really nice beer. I think it was Day and Verdant were also involved in that one too, but they do some really nice beers. The Patrons project is definitely worth checking out, and hopefully I can return and do more of those in the fairly near future. But anyway, on to Magic Rock then. So as I've told you before, Magic Rock Brewing are based in Huddersfield in Yorkshire in England, and they were established back in 2011 by brothers Richard and Johnny Burhouse, although Johnny later left the company, and they were joined in the early stages by head brewer Stuart Ross. So the beer brewing began back in mid-2011, and the beers proved so popular that the brewery actually won the accolade of the best new brewery of 2012 by Rate Beer. And the brewery were largely inspired by the burgeoning craft beer market over in the US, and they've been expanding their capacity and staff steadily over the years due to the high demand for their beers. But as of 2015, the brewery are based in the Willow Business Park in Birkby, and they now employ well over 30 people. And this new site has a brewing capacity of 10,000 hectolitres per year, and they've got a fermentation capacity of 70,000 litres as well, and they're putting their beers all over the place now. The Magic Rock beers are finding their way all across the world, and there's still a few of the core range that I need to review, but I do get a fair number of the kind of special ones that they do. They're well known for their kind of tall boy cans that have the kind of Mad Monster style artwork on them. I do really quite like the the artwork that they put on their beers. I'm not sure if the artwork that's on this one is a little bit similar to some of the ones that you'll see on the Magic Rock beers as well, but they've always been known for having the little crazy monsters. They've got their little 330 cans which have the little monsters on them as well, and then they've got the big tall boy ones which have a kind of black background, and they've got the kind of mad monsters on them too. But yeah, really, really good beers from both of these breweries in my experience, and I'm definitely looking forward to having a taste of this one. So if you want to learn more about either brewery, you can follow both of them on Facebook, and you can check out the brewery websites and stuff. You'll find the links to those in the video description below. But let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So like I said, this one is the Victorian Lemonade IPA, 6.5%. This one is hot with Amarillo, Citra and Lemon Drop. The artwork is by Drew Millward, and it's a Northern Monk Magic Rock collaboration, so it should be really, really nice. So yeah, let you have a little quick look at that artwork again before we open up, just checking that you're seeing that on the camera there. I really do love that. It's brilliant. I know Peter at the Clue of This Drinker, he's really into his art and his movies and things like that. He will absolutely, you know, cream himself at this artwork. He will absolutely love it, I'm sure, if he gets a hold of this beer. But yeah, as I said, my main curiosity with this one is how close it is to the original Lemonade IPA from Omnipollo and Evil Twin, and also the Pink Lemonade IPA. I'm really curious to see how this one turns out. But apparently they've put lemon pith and things in this one, so we'll just see how we get on with it. It should be a really interesting beer. Oh yeah, you can definitely get the lemon off this one. I love lemon flavour as well actually, so I'm really interested just to see how this one turns out. Get a wee bit of haze on it. It's actually kind of quite clear, which I'm surprised about. I thought this one was going to be quite hazy. I tell you something, you really can smell the lemons off that. That's fading away to be a very thin, foamy layer on the top of the beer. I would say it was kind of a perfect white colour. But yeah, you can see this beer is actually quite clear. You can see that that must be some of the lemon pith and stuff that's in there with this one. That'll be really, really interesting to drink, but there's a hell of a lot of kind of stuff floating around in that one. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the camera, but there's bits and bobs floating around in there. Just look at that. But it looks very, very nice. So I'm not sure. As I say, they've put this in the IPA category, but I do wonder if it will fit a little bit better into the kind of sour IPA or sour beer category. But you can see if I put my fingers behind the glass there, the beer does have a good bit of transparency to it, but it's a bright kind of a straw golden yellow colour, this one. So yeah, there's not much more you can say about the appearance of it. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones heading up towards where the head should have been. But let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. To be honest, straight up lemon. You can smell a little bit of the you know, the tropical fruit. I mean, you get a bit of orange from the Amarillo, you get a little bit of mango from the Citra hop as well. But straight up, it's very kind of sharp lemon. It just smells really, really nice, this beer. I always love the smell of lemons just because it's just so fresh actually. That's one of the things I always love about lemons. It just smells like a lemon cordial or something. There's nothing from the malt base, I have to say, on this beer. It just smells like a straight up lemon cordial, but you can get some of the juicier fruits from the hops and things in this. There's a little bit of maybe a grassy floral note in there, just a little bit more from the hops. But for me, absolutely nothing from the malt base at all. You know, you would smell this and maybe not even think it's a beer, to be quite honest with you. It's quite hard to pick up on the fact that it's a beer if you're doing this blind. But yeah, definitely just straight up lemons. I really just want to get stuck into this one, to be honest, because there isn't that much to the aroma, I would say. But this one is the Victoria Lemonade, or the Victorian Lemonade IPA, I should say, sorry, a 6.5% IPA. I suspect it'll be more of a sour IPA than anything else. A collaboration as part of the Northern Monk Patrons project with Magic Rock Brewing from Huddersfield in Yorkshire, England. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Yeah. It's really interesting, that, because it's, you know, it really is just like a lemon juice or something. It's almost like a cordial. It's quite, you know, this is one of these ones where it's quite hard to kind of distinguish it as a beer, to be quite honest. yeah, I mean, it's all about the lemons, and I do like this. I actually really do like it. It reminds me of some of these these sort of fruit beers that I've had from Dougas. It's almost, in some ways, it does have a little bit of a kind of creek quality to it, or something like that. It's got that almost kind of Belgian-y sour quality about it, which is quite interesting. And there's a lot of breweries experimenting with these sour beers now, but this one, you know, it is just kind of, it is just all about the lemons more than anything else. But you know, it is pretty much just like a lemonade or something like that. There's not much else you can say about this beer, really. I mean, there is a little bit of a kind of grassy floral type of thing on the sides of your tongue. But, you know, this is the thing, when you add fruit to a beer, the juicy fruity qualities, they always kind of push back on the hops a little bit, so the kind of hoppy bitterness of the beer is pushed right back by these kind of juicy fruity notes that come out of it. It's really, it is just straight up like a lemonade. There's really not much more you can say about it. The malt base in this one is kind of quite plain. It's, you know, there's that pale malt kind of light bready coating across the middle of your palate. There's a little bit of a biscuity sweetness in there as well. But it's nice. I have to admit, I do like this beer. Just be prepared for it to be something kind of completely different to what you've had before. But that's what craft beer is all about, you know. You have got to be open-minded in things when it comes to these beers, but I do like what they've done with this. But it is one of these ones where you're kind of like, you would taste this blind and be like, you know, is that a beer? It really is it a beer? But I have to say that, you know, they've done a nice job with it. You can't say that this is a bad beer or anything like that, but as I say, the question is it actually a beer? And it does have, you know, the malty qualities come out of this one. Nice. I think it's definitely one that it takes your palate a little bit of time to adjust to, because it's that unusual. It is quite, I would say it's quite different from these kind of these lemonade IPAs and things like that that Omnipollo and Evil Twin were doing together. This one is quite a bit different from those. But it's nice. Have a go at this and just see what you think of it. Go into it with an open mind, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's definitely a summery beer, this one. They've maybe released it a little bit too early, to be fair, because I mean, they're releasing this one just towards the end of April, or in the middle of April, I should say. And it probably is a beer that's better suited to being released like at the end of May for June or something like that. That's what I would say about this one, but they might do it again if it proves popular. But as I say, just a really nice beer, this one. You can't say much else about it. And if you go behind the front curve of the palate on this one, of course, that's where you get that little oily bubble where some of the kind of fruity, juicy hops come out. And the malt base as well, as it kind of mellows out, you can pick up some of the kind of, they must have put a little bit of aromatic or acidified malt or something like that in it, because you can really pick up a little bit of that kind of sour, almost tart, lemon, sherbety quality in the middle of your tongue too. But like I was saying, behind the front curve of the palate, there's a little bit of you can pick up a little bit of the orangey and kind of mangoey notes from the Amarillo, and the lemony citrus from the lemon drop, of course, is there as well. And it's surprising as well that they don't use a little bit of Centennial for this, because Centennial can give you some really nice lemony citrus qualities in my experience as well. But as I say, the malt base has a nice kind of light bready, paleo, biscuity quality to it. There's a nice little bit of how do you say that, acidified malt coming out of it as well, and there's a wee touch of earthiness in the back corners of the palate too, but you can feel a little bit of the grassy floral note just being pushed back by the fruit that they've added to the beer. As I say, the fruit, when you add it, really affects the mouthfeel because it pushes against the edge of the palate. But it's nicely done, this beer. As I say, you just have to go into it with an open mind, because it is like no other beer that you've probably had before. So yeah, have a taste of this one yourself and see what you think. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say yeah, I mean, I would say mid-bodied. Carbonation's very smooth on this one. It's quite an oily mouthfeel. There is a little bit of hoppy bitterness to it. The hops do start to come out a little bit more as your mouth kind of adjusts to the beer right enough. And I would say Good little bit of sharp tart character to this one. It's not quite as sharp as like a Creek or something like that, but it does have a little bit of that tart quality, some nice smooth sweetness in the middle of your palate from the malt base as well, and some juicy fruits. But overall, it's just a really nice beer, and you know, I'm glad that I got to try this one. It's definitely an interesting summer beer, and it is cool to see like breweries are starting to experiment a little bit more with sour, and I think these kind of lemonade IPAs are going to be one of these kind of mini crazies for a while. They'll disappear for a while in the future at some point, and then they'll make a reappearance a couple of years down the line, I would think, because that just seems to be the way that the craft beer industry is going these days. But it's a really nice beer, this one. I'm glad that I got to try it, and I do find myself getting more and more into these sour beers, so hopefully there is more experimentation with them over the next little while. But anyway, this one was the Victorian Lemonade IPA, 6.5%, part of the Northern Monk Patrons Project, sorry, not the Patience Project, in collaboration with Magic Rock Brewing from along in Huddersfield in Yorkshire. A really interesting beer, but one that you definitely need to try yourself, because it's certainly very, very unique. But it's in a way it is quite similar to the ones from Omnipollo and Evil Twin, but it's quite different within its own right as well. This one definitely has more of a kind of almost lemon lime cordial quality to it, but definitely leaning more towards the lemons, obviously. But yeah, a really nice beer, and I'm glad that I got to try it. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know your favourite beers from both breweries involved here. Hopefully I can review some of them for you in the near future. Hopefully I can get more of these Northern Monk Patrons projects as well, because this one was certainly one that was very interesting. So until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media, and I will catch you guys very soon. We'll be back to Northern Monk and Magic Rock at some point in the fairly near future. Slange just now, make sure you have a go at this, because it is certainly one of the more unique beers you're going to come across in recent times. Slange just now.